Hello my friends, it's your brother Zen bringing you more messages of love from above. And this video is going to be for the new moon that is coming up for us tomorrow on December 14th, depending on where you're at in the world. I'm in Mountain Standard Time, so it'll start around 9:16 a.m. and it's going to be a new moon in Sagittarius and a solar eclipse, so a lot of wonderful energy coming up. So we're going to do a pick a card reading, and you got three options here. For number one, it's going to be the actual new moon card here. And for number two, you're going to have the new moon in Sagittarius. And for number three, you'll have the solar eclipse. So there'll be timestamps in the description box below to jump to whichever one you choose, or if you want to listen to all three, just go ahead and sit back and enjoy. Here we go. If you chose card number one, which is for the new moon here, then this reading is for you. And I'm just going to share some information on these cards that come from this deck, this Moonology deck, which is a great little oracle cards, plus great information around the moon cycles and everything as well. So as you can see on the bottom of the card here, it talks about that a new start is coming. And of course, that's what a new moon represents in the new moon cycle. So it's a good time to plant new seeds. It brings in new experiences. And it's kind of like when you're moving to a new chapter in your story. It also offers a time of quiet and internal reflection to reflect back on what experiences you've had during the kind of the whole new moon cycle, from new moon to full moon back to new moon, to see if there's any changes you want to make for the next cycle that's coming up. And with the new moon, it's a time where, you're planting new seeds, where you're determining what you want to focus on for this next, 28, 29 day moon cycle. And as you continue to water old seeds that you've planted in previous cycles where you've initiated things, you can also have a fresh new garden bed to plant something new. So you can continue to water the old and plant the new things as well. What's interesting to attune to a new moon, you can use the phrase, I'll see it when I believe it. So rather than I'll believe it when I see it, it's I'll see it when I believe it. So when we're planting new things during the new moon with our new intentions, then we believe it and have that feeling inside of believing it, then that's when we'll see it. And that's when the light starts to come upon the dark moon, kind of like it starts here. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off here pulling a card from this oracle deck here, the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and see what messages we have. And so before we start, just want to invite the Creator to communicate with us and provide messages. We just thank you for your love, Creator, your unconditional love. And we thank all our angels and spirits and guides and loved ones who have returned back to the other side already. And we thank you for your unconditional love, and we invite you to be here with us and share your messages of love. All right. Good shuffle here. All right. And what message do you have for those that picked the new moon card? And please make it obvious for us, because we like it to be obvious. Okay, that one's sticking out there for us. We'll take that one. Let's see what we have here. So we have the Waxing Crescent 5, which is nourishment. So it's a beautiful card here. And it's card number 7, which can be the number for journey or spirit as well. So it's a great, I just love the the waterfall of the moon, all this waterfall coming off the moon, because for me, really, the moon is such a huge impact on our emotions, because we're made of, a large portion of our bodies are made of water, so our emotions and our inner tides are impacted by the moon. So, and I love that we were just talking about planting new things and having things grow. So there's a lot of nourishment, a lot of fruits that are growing, a lot of plants that are growing in that as well. And I'm going to read from the little book here too and see what additional messages pop up here for us. So the card basically says, choose to nourish your mind, body, and spirit. Feed your values. When you are jealous or envious, it is a sign of what you are actually hungering for. So pay attention to your health. A little kind of affirmation for this is, I choose to nourish myself. And it goes on to say, all of us have a set of values that are individual as our fingerprints. Sometimes we aren't sure what they might be if asked, but unconsciously we know. How do we know? Because if our values are not being met or lived, we rebel. We get angry, sad, depressed, irritable, or stuck. Or we take the chaotic choice in our decision making, and commonly our relationships in life are not harmonious. An example of this might be someone who has a strong value of honesty being asked to manipulate the truth every day in a sales job, or someone who highly values peace being surrounded by loud, drama-filled people who are just the opposite of peaceful. So meeting our values and living by them is a sure way to nourish our being. We feel more complete and fulfilled if we're able to do that. And it says, additionally, it probably isn't an exaggeration to say that Western world is obsessed by food for the wrong reasons. Food is often used as pain relief, with many people overeating due to anxiety or pain. Food becomes a diversion rather than something that is nourishing or even simply enjoyable. Learning to nourish bodies purely to give them what they really need is a key to mental and physical health. So that's a great message there. So nourish our bodies. Next, I'm going to pick a card here from the 7 Energies deck by Colette, Baron-Reid. It's a really awesome deck, and we'll see what additional messages we have beyond that. And additionally for this one, when we're talking about values, one of the things that the creator wants to clarify on that is we have values that were conditioned or pushed upon us from the outside. This is how things are supposed to be. This is what should happen. This is what is happening. This is what is going on. All the small t truths. But when it talks about values, what the creator is looking for is to push inward. The moon, this new moon, is a place to step out of all the chaos and look deep into your own heart for what your values are, your values of unconditional love, your values of peace and joy, and not the values that are rooted in fear, rooted in fear of being rejected, of loss, of those types of things, but returning to the values of who you really are, which is in your heart. So, all right, what additional message do we have here for those that chose the new moon card? Oh, that's a little too many there. Just one message for us, please. Make it really, really obvious for us. All right, there we go. We got sacred reverence. beautiful. And that's card number 47. And like I was just talking about, we hold the key in our heart. And returning to that sacred place within our heart is what I think the message of this card is what's coming intuitively. And I'll read from her book too, just to get clarification on it. But I love just that there's two hands holding the heart and the key is within it. And here's the planet and the love energy just flowing all around it. Put that there. And let's see what additional messages are in the little book here. So the key concepts for sacred reverence is awe for the truth that spirit is everywhere. Inspiration coming through you as a result of reverence. Joyful living. Exploring possibilities with curiosity. Spiritual passion. Manifesting from the starting point of the realm of spirit. And it goes on to say, looking at the world, do you see all of life or only a limited part? When you look at a blade of grass, do you see just a plant? When you encounter a puppy, do you see just an animal? While this categorizing is one way of viewing the world, it is only a fraction of the truth. It isn't enough. Look closer, and you observe the luminosity immanent in these living, sentient beings. If you can allow yourself to take in all the world, including its spirit, then you see the whole. Reverence is an act of deep witnessing, respect, and awe. You experience it when you perceive every being and everything, every plant, rock, and tree, as sacred and alive. You naturally lean into a state of bliss and harmony and a profound sense of well-being. Whatever your dilemma or question, try to reframe your perspective to acknowledge the spiritual. If everything has value, including your most frustrating challenges, would you still ask your question from the same place? Can you regard the other as sacred, thereby easing the separation between you? Embracing the perfection of how you came together is real magic, and you're tapping into this unity right now. No matter who or what is in front of you, see that person or thing as luminous and your interaction as holy. Then you will know what to do for the highest good of all. Wow. And how perfect is that, that just intertwines with nourishment. How do you truly nourish your spirit? How do you truly nourish your body? Is by looking at everything outside of ourselves as reverent and holy and spiritual, and that no matter what is happening outside of ourselves, when we take that moment to take some deep breaths and step back, we can see everything from a higher perspective, and we can see things as the higher being behind this representation, this character, whether it's a puppy or a blade of grass or another person, that there is loving energy, there's a loving being behind each of those creations, and that what we are seeing is a reflective of ourself. So when we're in fear, we'll see those things as just things or as something that's a threat. But when we're looking at things from a higher place of love, from when we connect into this, the key here, when we looking from there outside, then we're going to see love looking back at us. All right. Next, I'm going to take a few cards from this Oracle deck I'm working on with the creator and see what additional messages we have. And all these messages are timeless. They could focus in between now and the full moon, over the next couple of weeks, but they can, of course, always be whenever you're coming across this video. They can be applying to your life at that time, of course. There's no time in the spirit world, which is awesome. Everything's always right on time then, right? All right, what additional messages do we have? For those that chose the new moon card, any clarification for us? Okay, we feel these two are sticking out here. Okay, is there just two, or is there another one? Okay, and this one here. All right, so the first card here is Earth as my world turns. You can see that card here. And this card is from the section of this oracle deck that talks about who are the characters that are involved in the drama or what is going on in my life. And what this card represents, when in the astrological signs and planets, the Earth isn't really mentioned out of them all, because there we are standing on Earth looking out, so it's always the viewpoint from Earth. And so what this card is saying is that, exactly what I was saying, is that we see the world as we are, not as it is. So the world viewpoint we see is actually our viewpoint that we've accepted and taken on as our own. And what's great with that is that we always get to choose what that means. And if we take time to step back in any situation like we were talking about and just question, why do I feel that way? Why do I believe that's the way things should be? What is my conditioning? What is at the root of all that? Who told me that? Where did I learn that? And is that true? And can I transform that? Can I look at it from a different viewpoint? Can I take a step back out of fear and sit into that unconditional love and just observe and witness what is happening and try to understand? Because I am the one that is deciding all that, and no one can make me decide any differently. You know, they can try to force me externally, but inside I could still be believing what I believe. All right, and then we'll look at the next one here, and this is waxing and waning. It's card number 4. And what's great with this card is this talks about all the cycles in between the moons. And you can see here how it goes from being just a little bit of darkness on the sides there, and a little bit of light. And so these are always the beginnings, which happens right after the new moon. We begin to, like this is the stage right before the new moon, as the light is about to leave and become dark. And this is the stage right after the full moon, as the light starts to leave. So we're always in a waxing and waning state, because the new moon, like we talked about at the beginning, is the time of new beginnings. The waxing, it's where things are being added and it grows. And of course, then we become the first quarter moon, where the moon is half full, or you could be looking at it as half empty, depending on your perspective, right? And then we go to the full moon, which is the space where we think that, okay, these things that were supposed to fulfill me, did they? And then the light starts to leave and starts headed back to the new moon. And that's when we start to wane, where things start to end or complete. And we reach this point of the new moon where we evaluate and start that process all over again. So you can kind of see these are like the 2 8s, and it's always the cycle of how life works. Things are always growing and then leaving. It's the seasons. You know, spring is when things are spreading and growing, and summer is when they continue to grow with the heat of the sun, and then the fall is when we start to harvest, and the winter is when everything kind of goes into hibernation to start spring and go over again. So a message with this too is just to understand that when you look back over your life, you will see the cycles, you'll see those things that continue and repeat within your life. So 2 things you can learn from that is, one, that nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary here. It's always changing. It's always changing. But it also brings a message of knowing that you can be secure and knowing that everything always works out and that there's a process for everything and that we don't have to freak out about it. All right, and then the final card here is all about the contrast. And this is actually one of the separating cards within the deck that asks the question, what is at the root of my emotions? And so this is a great period, every moment is a choice between unconditional love or the fear of losing conditional love. And so it's why we come here is the contrast. Light comes here to experience darkness and our shadow to understand more deeply who we are. If everything on this card was in white, you wouldn't see anything. You would just see bright light. But because there's the shadow, the darker color on here, we're able to understand and see more crisply who we are by seeing what we're not. All right, any other messages regarding all of this? Nourishment, understanding who we are. Nope, I'm not getting anything else on there. So the last card I'll pick from you is from these little sweet dreams, because during moon phases, always dreaming. It's always impacting my dreams. So this always resonates with me. Oh, well, there we go. Well, that one just kind of flipped out. Didn't even have to ask it. Yeah. And there we go. Change. I embrace change in this new day, and I adapt to what is to come. And that is so perfect for the new moon, because the new moon is about the change of things to come. So, like we said, the cycle, nothing is permanent, everything is temporary. So we're in a constant kind of environment of change on this planet. Back home, everything is so just stable. Here on the physical plane in this external world, everything is unstable and constantly changing. And that's what we're shown by, the cycles of the moon. As we see in the sky, everything is constantly moving, everything is constantly changing. But we can embrace the change, knowing that everything comes for us and for our highest good, as it mentioned in this card here, that everything happens for us. We come here to experience, and we're going through different experiences that constantly show us who we are, whether it's we're experiencing the unconditional love of who we are, or we're experiencing the fear and the chaos on the external storm that's going on. It's always showing us who we are. So it's a good time to think about what you want to plant during this time. So, usually during the first 8 hours of the new moon is when the new moon and the creator, they're listening more intently of what would you like to plant? What would you like to grow? And so this is the time to kind of make some wishes. There's a process that I've read, and they said it really worked well for them, is that within that 8 hours of the new moon, make 10 wishes. You get 10 wishes and just put it out to the universe. Make them about what you want for you, not what you want to happen to other people, because that is none of our business. This is for you and for what you want to have happen for you. And so just make those wishes, write them down, say them out loud during that 8-hour period after the new moon, starting at I think it was 9:16 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then release it to the universe, release it to the creator and all the angels and guides to believe and feel that those wishes will come true, because the creator is listening and will absolutely have whatever is for our highest experience will unfold for us. So ask away. Well, I hope this brought a little bit of love, joy, and peace into your day. And I definitely do wish you all the unconditional love you can handle, all the joy you can handle, all the peace that you can handle. And if this resonated with you, if you would like to, you could give me a like down below. It does help out my channel and helps it appear on other people people's YouTube suggestions so it can be seen by other people. Or if you want to share it with someone else that you think could use a little bit of extra Zen in their life, then you can click the share button and share it with them. Also, if you want to get notified of any of the future videos that I do, just click the subscribe button, click the little alarm bell, and it'll give you a notification as I post new ones. So I definitely thank you for watching the video, and I send you all my love. You take care. If you chose card number 2, which is the new moon in Sagittarius, then this reading is for you. And I'm just going to provide some information from this deck here, which is this awesome Moonology deck here. And as of course it says on the bottom here, it says luck is on your side. And the new moon specifically in Sagittarius brings in that Sagittarian characteristics and traits, which of course can mark a restart of fun after a period of feeling low, which I know this year has pretty much been an opportunity and a challenge to keep a mindset of fun when there's so many opportunities to choose to feel low. So it may have been difficult to choose to smile with the less energetic environment that we've been in. But the sparky Sagittarius energy can ignite that inner flame to make it an easier choice starting on the new moon to spark the divine within us, to spark that joy in that kind of attitude of I'm going to choose to have fun with whatever comes my way rather than choosing unfun. Now, whatever next is happening for you, it's going to be some sort of a gift, even if it means widening your worldview or opening your mind beyond your own fixed opinion of how things are supposed to be. So whatever comes, if it feels like a little challenge, it can be just a gift to force us to look beyond of what our conditioning has taught us to be. You know, we might be stuck in a mindset and having all these fear emotions attached to it, but it's going to allow us to choose to have a more fun, open-minded, loving viewpoint of those things, and then we can see the world in a whole different way. To attune to the moon in Sagittarius specifically, you can attune to the moon by counting your blessings, literally. You know, write them down, write down what you're thankful for, say them out loud, you know, put that vocal vibration out of gratitude and thankfulness. When we focus on what we feel we don't have, then that sends out that negative vibration, and we're feeding that. And so when we feed that dark wolf, then that grows and brings in more of its friends. When we focus on gratitude and the white wolf, and we feed more by being thankful and grateful for what we do have, then that grows and brings more of its friends, so we have more to be grateful for. So it's a great attunement, and to understand that that's, you know, how it works, and that whatever we focus on grows. All right, next I'm going to pick a card from the Queen of the Moon Oracle here and see what additional messages we have. And before we do that, just want to thank the Creator for their unconditional love for us, and all the angels and guides, our ancestors and loved ones who have gone to the other side already. We thank you for your unconditional love, and we invite you all to be here with us now and bring us messages of love. All right, so I'm going to shuffle these up here. All right, what message do you have for us for those that chose the new moon? Oh, there we go, in Sagittarius. Well, that was a fast response there. And we have Will. It's card number 13. And, you know, here it has all the cycles of the moon, and like exactly what I was just saying is that what we're given is free will. And we get to choose what we're going to see. We're going to choose what we believe. So we get to choose, are we going to feed the dark, or are we going to feed the light? Are we going to feed fear, or feed love? And so this is perfect for that there. And let me see what additional messages that mentions in here too, in the little book here. Yep. So it says decisions require action. You are in control of your own decisions in life, no one else's. That's so funny. That's what I just said when I was talking. I love it when that happens. Passion and will determine a great proportion of your success. You will persist. You possess free will, which means you should focus on yourself first and avoid placing your will over another's. And the little affirmation it says is, I have the will to make the changes I need. It goes on to say, will feels like a very old-fashioned concept. In a modern world where it seems like everything is geared up to be as easy as possible, or there's always someone else to blame, the idea of placing our personal will persistently into something seems quaint. When we decide we are going to change something in our lives, let's say a particularly negative pattern or bad habit, breaking the old way we do things can be difficult. The change requires a concentration of our will. We may want the change, but it is our will that insists we stay on the path to that change. To be willful means we have the power of control over our own actions, and that will fires up the persistence we need to get what we want. Contrary to popular belief, in witchcraft traditions, practitioners do not interfere with another's free will. This means we do not cast spells upon people to influence their behavior. How do we get what we want instead? We cast on ourselves in line with our will, focusing carefully on what we would like in our lives instead. For example, instead of casting a spell to get back our ex-boyfriend who doesn't want us by influencing his will to love us again, we more ethically cast upon ourselves for our ideal partner. This way we don't interfere with his free will, and if the ex is our ideal partner, he will return to us freely. If not, we have attracted someone new and better for us. Either way, it's a win-win. I love that example. To use our will productively, we should assess what we really want and make sure this is what we want to reach for. Wow, so perfect. Exactly what I was talking about that whole time. We have our power of choice, and we get to choose for ourselves and not try to inflict our will on others, because that has always worked out well in the past, hasn't it? Trying to get other people to do what we want them to do. Not a big success rate, because we always want to do what we want to do, and we don't appreciate it when other people try to impose their will on us either. So we can come to that place of focusing on ourselves and doing what we can for ourselves in love and with joy and with peace, and not trying to force other people to do that. All right, next I'm going to pull a card here from the Seven Energies by Colette Baron-Reid and see what additional message we have. All right, what additional message do we have for card number 2 that shows the new moon in Sagittarius? Okay. I feel like that is the one for us there. And it is Seen Beyond. Ooh, it's number 36, if that is something for you there. On a beautiful card here too. What I love that how it's fitting into the story here. Seen beyond what we think we see in the physical world, and really connecting to our inner sight, to that higher sight that's connected to the Creator, to the spiritual side, our inner sight instead of our physical outward sight. And with this whole will, which is wonderful, is when we start to question what we're choosing and what's going on, we get to see the truth. We get to see the capital T truth instead of the small t truth in that. Let me see what additional message the book has here. So the key concepts for the card is vision, the capacity to imagine something, to look beyond the material, beyond the obvious, the realm of the transpersonal, options and possibilities, getting out of your own way, and discarding your projected outcomes. And it also says in here, do you consider things only within the framework of what you already know? Or can you allow yourself to see beyond, into the vastness of potential? We're all gifted with the magical ability of imagination, and when we open to it, we become a conduit for a divine vision greater than our own. There are two ways to view the world and co-create with it. One is from a face value perspective. What you see is what you get. The second is allowing your imagination to see beyond what something is right now and move into a place that doesn't yet exist in the material world. In this cosmic playground of possibilities, you see into a future where anything you imagine has the potential to become real. If you use your imagination faithfully and consciously, avoiding the traps of fearful projection and drama, you can connect to any reality you truly want to experience. When you open yourself even further, you're often gifted with a divine vision. As a practice, you can reimagine that vision over and over to strengthen it. And as you channel these visions through you, you become a superconductor for the world. Today, know what your vision, what you imagine forming in the invisible, will be delivered into the material world. Don't worry about the timing of things. That's in the hands of the universe. Your job is to continue to imagine. Take a few steps forward, then imagine some more. The universe's job is to make it real. What a fabulous partnership. I love that. It's really about being a co-creator with the creator. That's when we were given free will. And I kind of look at the creator as like my best friend. It's someone that has always been with me, always supportive of me, unconditionally loving. And, it's having a really smart, all-knowing best friend, When I want to go do something, I'm like, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Any advice, any guidance, any messages on what the best way to go about that would be the best for me, it would have the best outcome for me. And I trust this best friend, and I know that I get to choose ultimately, but I can co-create rather than just be this creator that's running around out there creating things for my life that I have no idea what's best for me, right? So it's heeding the advice and knowing that the creator is always caring and always has what's best for me in mind. All right, next I'm going to pick some clarifying cards from this deck I'm working on with the creator. It's a little oracle deck as well. We'll see what additional messages we have. Oh, card already popped out there. Okay, any other additional messages? Okay, and I feel these two. All right. And we've got the win-lose game card here. And I'll talk more about that there. And then on the bottom is the best defense is not to get offended. So instead of the best defense is a good offense, it's the best defense is not to get offended at all. So what I love about this is the win-lose game comes into, basically our choice. And we talked in here about trying to make other people believe what we believe to force our will on others. And this is what happens when we try to force our will on others or someone else tries to force their will on us. when we become offended by that and we feel we need to defend, then we go into defensive stance, on God. And that's when we start attacking one another. Either attacking the other person's belief to dismantle it and say that it's wrong and try to get them to come over to our side where we win and they lose. Or we just start defending our current position because we're feeling attacked. We think they're trying to win over us and they're trying to make us a loser. But when it talks in here about not becoming offended, that is where we come into our power of choice. So in every moment, we can choose to go into that fight or flight mode where we attack or defend. But if we focus in on unconditional love, then we can let them share what their opinion is, what their truth is, and not go into a battle of whose truth is truer. We can allow them to have their truth, and we can allow ourselves to maintain our truth. And if we can come to that realization that no matter if someone tries to get me to change my mind, I don't have to change my mind, and I don't have to defend either. I can just let people share the emotions they're going through, be there in a loving, an unconditionally loving way, and just, I understand where you're coming from, and I can see how that could upset you, and what are you going to do with that, and anything I can do to help out. And if they're like, well, do you agree with me? Don't you agree with my political view or my religious view or my opinion of that other person, our mutual friend that way too? And you're like, well, you know what? I just have a different perspective on that, but that doesn't mean that you can't have what you're, going through. And just know I love you. I love you no matter what. And, do you want some advice on how you can transform that and from that place of fear into a more loving, peaceful, joyful place, or anything that we can do? And, when you approach it that way instead of the attacking, then you're actually communicating. You're not just hearing sword fight going on. All right. Next, this is actually one of the separator cards in the deck, and this is the Chakra Atlas. And this is just basically goes, how does this fit into my spiritual path? And it's a good question. I love that part of the deck because it gives us clarification on where we're at in our spiritual journey. We come here to experience fear. When you are looking at give you a close-up view, when you're looking at the chakras, the red is the very root down here at the bottom, and that is where we experience being like a caterpillar. We're seeing our fears, we're going through them, we're just trying to live another day, just trying to survive and kind of get through the human experience. But through everything that we're working on, it goes from the red all the way up to the purple at the top, and that is the crown chakra, which is where we connect and remember who we really are, which are these powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit beings made of unconditional love. And so this journey that we're on has a purpose and a design behind it. It's not like we're being on a runaway train that's headed, to go off a cliff and full of danger and all that. Everything has a purpose. Everything we're going through is by design. And what a wonderful book that I came across is the Destiny cards. And it shows us that everything is a design, and that there might be, I kind of look at it as more of an improv play. There's all these themes that are designed to go through, and we're going to step through these themes as we go through this journey. But how we interact with it and what we decide it means for us and to what extent we learn from it all has to do with our will and our power of choice. So, that's what I love about these cards here. Let me see if this is this isn't one of the chakra cards, but because this is an orange, that orange chakra has to do with, where red is like a bowl where we see our emotions and charge. When we move up into the orange chakra, which is the sacral chakra, it's like we're watching a sunrise or a sunset. We're beginning to see our emotions. We can stand, and look upon it and see it and not have to charge like a bull. We can start to just take a deep breath and see our emotion from a distance and go, oh, okay, that's what's going on. That's why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and that type of thing. So that's what I feel this message is for you, is just let you know that emotions aren't wrong. When we're a human, we're going to feel emotions, either positive or negative. There's a polarity there. We're always going to feel that as a human, but we don't have to grasp onto it and consume it. We can walk by a street market of all these emotions that are out there, see it, smell it, and witness it, even do a little taste test, but we don't have to buy, a whole meal of it and sit down and eat it and consume it and take it into us. We can just let the emotion come and go, witness it as it comes and goes. And it's funny, this is an orange one, and this is also an orange one. This one is talking about losing our religion. And so, of course, it shows an organized structure on fire, but the advice that the Creator gives us is to remember love. And what this is not about losing your organized religion. It's not an attack on religions at all, because everyone has a religion, whether it's an organized spiritual religion or not. Everyone has beliefs that we've developed over time. All those conditional love laws. We've been taught that this happens, this is how you're supposed to feel, this is how things should be, this is how people should act, this is the kind of job you're supposed to have, these are the kind of possessions you're supposed to own and possess, and this is how you're supposed to look, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, you get those challenging in your face all day long. And what this card suggests is we can lose that religion, we can lose all those conditions, and remember unconditional love. And that's what this is all about. Like I was mentioning, all the emotions that we feel are rooted in fear of not being acceptable and not being lovable. And so what this challenges us to do is to take a deep breath and question what we believe. Question, why do I think that thing is supposed to happen? And why am I attached to that? Can I let it go? Can I sit in love and not attack or defend? And can I just question, why am I believing a certain thing? And why am I fearing it? Because fear is what's causing the ignition of fire within us, that anger, that fight or flight. We're either running from it or we're fighting for it. And that's when we know it's not of unconditional love, because we're in that fight or flight mode. All right, so the message is there. I'm going to end this with a little Sweet Dreams little card here. I know it was during moon events, I'm dreaming like crazy, and our bodies do that quite a bit. It's jumping out here for me. So I thought, how perfect is the Sweet Dreams? Lessons. This is great. Have you take a look at that there. So it says lessons. I look for opportunities in life's challenges via my dreams, and I learn the lesson. How perfect is that? I look for opportunities in life's challenges. Life's challenges, the challenge, right? On guard, that's the challenge. And as things come to us and we're challenged by them, that is like an alarm, a signal for us to understand, what am I choosing and why? Let me look into life's challenges to find out what is really going on. Why am I feeling that way? Why do I want to experience this? What is it teaching me about me? What is it teaching me about my views of the world? Perfect. Well, I hope this brought a little bit of unconditional love, enjoying peace into your moment today. If this resonated with you, if you would like, you can give me a little like it down below. That does help out my channel, allows it to appear on other people's suggested videos. And if you want to share this, there's a share option, of course, as well. And if you want to be informed of any of the future videos I'm doing, if you click the subscribe button down below and click that little alarm, then you'll get notified when I post my videos. And I do post them usually 1 or 2 a week. So keep a lookout. All right, I definitely appreciate you watching this. Appreciate your time. I love you dearly, and you take care. All right, if you chose this lunar eclipse card, then this reading is for you. And I'm going to start off just sharing some information from this deck here. It's the Moonology deck here. It's really awesome there. And of course, it says on the bottom here, expect powerful change. And that's what, you know, a moon eclipse, this one's like a new moon solar eclipse, and it's, of course, has a lot of power behind it. Just a new moon phases and full moon and usually have power behind it anyway, but when it's a solar or an eclipse of any kind along with it, it just adds the oomph to it all. So this card means that this is an affirmation that you can achieve your dreams. It's like a new portal is opening up, and all you have to do is have the courage to forget about the past and move through it, move through the past. There's powerful energy at work, as I just mentioned, so be prepared. It could be quite a ride. Events now could be a little jarring and even uncomfortable, but it's happening for a reason. And even though, of course, when we're going through difficult times or through uncomfortable times, we don't often appreciate it during it, but you'll appreciate it later. You know, to get something new, do something new. Because the saying goes, if you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. And to attune to this new moon eclipse, you can kind of focus on the phrase, never mind the past, life evolves every single day. So a great message from the Moonology deck there. Next, I'm going to pull an oracle card from this Queen of the Moon Oracle and see what additional messages we have. And before we do that, I just want to thank the Creator for your unconditional love. We're so grateful. To our angels and our guides and our ancestors, any loved ones that have already returned home to the other side, we thank you for your unconditional love. And we just invite all of you to be here present with us right now and to bring your messages of love to us. All right. Thank you. Go ahead and shuffle these up here. All right, what message do you have, Creator, for those that chose the New Moon Eclipse card? Oh, there we go. And you got the Discernment card. And I'll read from the book as well, just to see what comes up from there. It's a number 10, which is the number of new beginnings, how fitting for a new lunar eclipse. And what I'm really seeing how the clouds are hiding our vision, it's basically telling you that you're not seeing the full picture yet. You're not seeing all the information. And so to turn inward and to your intuition, to your heart, don't focus so much on what your head is telling you, but focusing on what your heart is telling you. You know, dig deep into that, especially during a new moon. We have the opportunity to really dig deep within ourselves. And, you know, that discernment is like that gut feeling. Trust your gut. Trust those, trust the data, trust the information that's coming from your heart, coming from unconditional love, not from the conditioned mind with all its ideas and supposed tos and shoulds. It's telling you, trust that inner intuition. Okay, and let me see what the book has additionally to say here, see if there's any additional messages here for us. It says, take care in your choices now. Look carefully and judge wisely. There may have been something difficult to see, something that has been obscured, but now it has been revealed to you. Examine it closely. The little affirmation says, I take my time to be accurate and precise in my discernment. It goes on to say, when you get some years on you, who you calling me old? Anyway, when you get some years on you, hopefully the time you spend moving and choosing upon this earth brings you some kind of wisdom. Some of that wisdom will be bred of hindsight and perspective. All of us, if we're engaged in life, make good decisions and poor ones. Sometimes we make spectacularly bad ones. All of us get hurt others, learn, forget, fall over again, get up, ... But hopefully we grow, we change. We're able to spot where our sore points are and fix them if we so choose. We're able to take a good long look at what is painfully recurring in our lives and deal with it. Yes, baby, deal. The secret here is discernment, real discernment, really making it a priority to take time to ensure acuteness of judgment, really looking at the fine print before you buy. Instead of taking things on face value or rushing into surface judgments, take your sweet time to form friendships and business relationships. Put your energy output into perspective, looking at evidence instead of only just believing. Feel and act when you're being trodden upon, or having your boundaries overstepped, or when something doesn't quite feel kosher. Ask clarifying questions and really listen to the answers offered, then act on the reality. That is growth. That is real pattern busting. That is the gathering of wisdom. Wow, that is so perfect there. All right, and then next, I'm going to pull a card here from the Seven Energies Oracle from Colette Baron-Reid. See what additional message we have to add upon that. What additional message do you have for those that chose the Eclipse card? Whoop, that's a little too many there. Could I have just one card, please? Make it really obvious for us, because we like it to be really obvious, don't we? We like clear messages. We need clarity these days when there's so much fog, so many clouds, so much clouding our mind, clouding the truths that are out there. Don't know who to believe anymore, so we've got to trust our gut. We've got to go inside, out of our mind, out of our fears, into the heart. Okay, there we go. Beyond the ordinary. What I love about this is they have their eyes closed and they're looking beyond the ordinary. It's just kind of like, almost looks like this card here. When you put them next to each other. Right, let me see, that's number 45. And we'll see what additional message comes on here for us. So the key concepts for the card is the mystical, ineffable part of life, trusting in the invisible world without understanding it, recognizing that something cannot be known in advance and are not meant to be grasped intellectually. The awareness that everything is as it should be, even if it doesn't make sense. Wow. So it says, beyond our ordinary worlds, defined by our memory, our intellect, and our five senses, is a mystical realm of beauty, magic, and extraordinary potential. Wow. So that's the mind, and that's the world of the mystic. There is the spiritual realm, the quantum reality, called by some the Great Mystery. This place doesn't operate under the same laws we're used to, but rather has its own way of working that is perfect, though hard for us to understand. When you want to know what is to come, the nature of something, or where you're heading, it's natural to turn to a trusted oracle and expect some kind of answer that will inform your view of how things are, might be, or should be. Sometimes this isn't possible because the elements cannot be named or are not yet in place. Things may be still in flux, so you cannot know and may never be meant to know. And no matter how hard you try to understand why something happened or how or when it will happen, now is the time to surrender to not knowing. The mystery is a mystery because it is at present unknowable and is yet unmade. Even its potential is impossible to understand. What is waiting for you lies beyond the ordinary, but it has not yet chosen its shape, its path, and the manner by which it will be delivered. Your job is to stay the course, allowing whatever comes to be exactly as it will, without trying to ascertain anything in advance. Wow. And I love that too, because I'm reminded that a lot of times we want to know what's going to be happening in the future because we're not sure it's going to be happening for us. We're afraid and have fear of what is that going to end up being and what is that going to mean about me. And what I love is, and like as in reading too, it talked about will and our power of choice. And we get to choose what anything means about us in the long run. You know, no matter what happens outside of us, we alone are the ones that get to define what it means about us. And I love that there's this message of we can trust the Creator, we can trust our angels and guides and our path, that everything is always unfolding for us, and that life isn't happening to us. Life happening to us is a victim dramatic role, you know. It's like, oh, I can't believe that happened to me. Oh, I can't believe I didn't get what I wanted. Oh, I can't believe they left me. I can't believe I lost my job. I can't believe, you know, da-da-da-da-da. But when we kind of switch it into, out of a dramatic role of victimhood, into just an empowering place of that, you know, the Creator of all things is bringing all these gifts to me. And though some of these things may not feel, you know, like I was mentioning before with, you know, the new moon, that we might be going through a jarring or uncomfortable situation, we may not see it as for us, but we don't realize what it's teaching us and how it's making us grow and how it's moving us out of the pathway of an oncoming semi or whatever it might be. It's like, get in the left lane. I can't get in the left lane, but there's a boulder heading down, you know, the hill and falls into that lane, you know, both literally or figuratively. You know, boulders will come flying into our lives, but if we listen and we trust that everything's unfolding for us, then we listen, we move, and then we have the highest experience in our lives. All right. Next, I'm going to pull a couple cards from this oracle deck I'm working on with the Creator just to get some more clarification here. See what more messages the Creator and his posse, her posse, have for us. So for those that chose the solar or the moon eclipse here, what additional messages do you have for us? There we go. 3, boom, boom, boom. All right. So this one is heartbreak. Considering that's a 5 and a 4 is a 9, and this is a 9 as well. So the illusion that we have that the Creator wants to bring to us is that we've been taught that our heart can be broken, and it's a good dramatic act for sure, you know, in the drama of having a victim, a villain, and a hero. the broken heart is the perfect storyline, right? And we're taught that when things don't work out the way that we have been told they're supposed to, or things that we've been taught are supposed to fulfill us, and then they don't, someone doesn't treat us well, or they leave us, or, any of those things that are on that long list of things that are supposed to happen. When they don't, oh no, I'm heartbroken. I'm supposed to be heartbroken. But what the pain in our heart actually is the prick of fear. When we start to feel like our heart was torn, that's actually fight or flight kicking in, because we've gone into fear mode. And what we can realize is that that's just a physical response in our body to an emotional fear that we have. And it's the same thing as if a deer jets out in front of us, or someone jumps out behind the door, or a mouse runs across in front of you. It's like you're startled, and that startled feeling can feel like that too for a moment, but then we realize we're out of danger and it goes. The emotional fears that ignite that feeling within us, those don't go away so fast because we're unsure if we're safe or not, whereas those physical things I mentioned go away right away because we see it. We're like, okay, I'm safe, I'm good, we calm down. But emotionally, that horror picture is playing over and over in our mind of, look, they cheated on you, you're no good. They cheated on you, you're no good. They cheated on you, no good. You forget about it for a few minutes, and then you see someone else they have a boyfriend or girlfriend, or you come across something of theirs, and you're no good. You're not worthy to be faithful to. All that keeps playing in there, but it's all a story. And so that's what's wonderful about these, is those are the things in the mind. Those are the things that we've been conditioned for, but there's a different place. When we go to this mystical place, when we go into our heart, we can find that unconditional love of the Creator, and we can find a new truth and a new, this is a small t truth that we're taught that's actually a lie, but we can find the capital T truth, which is we're unconditionally loved by the Mother and Father of all things. We're never unlovable. We're never unacceptable. We're perfect in the sight of the Creator of all things. The King and Queen of our realm loves us unconditionally. So anything else doesn't matter. We have it all. And so that's what this message is bringing, is that heartbreak is just a story in the mind, and we can question that, and we get to experience the extraordinary instead of this ordinary thing we've been taught. All right. Yep, and here we go. This is friendly failure. This is one of the big fears. This is like where heartbreak comes from, is what will everyone else think? Is everyone else going to give us a big fat F and say, you failed, you're rejectable, you're unlovable? But what's wonderful is that what the Creator gives us on the bottom is the way that we convert this fear into unconditional love, peace, and joy. Keep your eyes on your own paper. So this is all talking about not looking outwardly, not judging others, not caring about what other people think and how other people are trying to define you. Go to the middle. Go to your true heart, not your broken heart, but your true heart that's full of unconditional love, and realize who you really are. Because this is what we're afraid of, that dark and shadowy they. What will they think of us? Will they reject us? But when we shine a light on these shadowy people, we understand every one of these people is seeing life through their own eyes. They're seeing the world as they are feeling on the inside, not as it is. So even when people are looking at us, we're just a mirror. Any opinion anyone has for us, this is the grade they're giving themselves. So when people reject you, they're rejecting themselves on the inside. That's the only reason why they're trying to find something that they have an opinion that thing is failing, that person's failing, because they need to move that view away from themselves outside, because they're blaming themselves for their failure. They're being heartbroken, and they're breaking their own heart. And so they have to find something on the outside. Because we know that the people that really know us, the people that really, really know us, love us no matter what. There's an unconditional love that's inside that higher being in every individual that loves us unconditionally, because that's who knows us. That's who truly sees us. The Creator, our angels, our guides, our ancestors that have passed, our loved ones who have passed over the other side, in that higher place of being who they really are, not being the human, but being that powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being made of unconditional love they are. They see us and they love us unconditionally. A human walking on the earth, it's very difficult for them to see beyond the conditioning and to stay outside of fear long enough and to stand in unconditional love, to see others as unconditional. So I wouldn't listen to these people's viewpoints. It's just their actions out of fear. And that's, if you have stress around all the riots that are going on out there through whatever it might be, for whatever reasons, whatever opinions everyone is protecting, it's because they're fearing. And if we look at that through eyes of love, we understand their actions are a cry for love, not for being attacked. They're not yelling, attack me, attack me, attack me. What their heart is really saying is, love me, love me, love me. All right. And then the last card here. Yep. So just as I mentioned, this is a part of a 4-part meditation, which I'll link in the description box below. But this talks about the world is unconditional love. And how this starts off, the first piece is when we look to the Creator and go, I am unconditionally loved. So just as I mentioned, when we look to the Creator and all those powerful beings on the other side, or in the spiritual realm that have unconditional love for us, we realize I am unconditionally loved. And then when the love flows down into us and fills us up, we actually realize, you know what? I'm not only unconditionally loved, I am made of unconditional love. I am unconditional love. And then we fill up so much that we're so full, it flows out to the world. And so we realize, even all these people everywhere, anyone, that love just flows out, and you can say, I unconditionally love the world. And when you're in that place of love where it's just, you're just so full of that love and it's flowing out of you, you're just surrounded by that love, then you get hit with this kind of wave of unconditional love coming back to us from the outside world. And we realize the world also is made of unconditional love. The world is unconditional love. The world is perfect. It's just that this human experience is full of conditional love. And so when we look through the eyes of conditional love out to the world, we're all going to see conditional love all over the place and all that chaos that comes with it. But when we look through the eyes of unconditional love, through the eyes of unconditional love instead of the eyes of the conditional, then we see how lovely and perfect this world really is. When we get to focus in on the love inside of us and sharing love instead of focusing on the pain of conditional love that always disappoints, and we're acting out of that anger and that fear. Instead, we can act out of love instead. All right. And last card I'm going to pull is a card from this little Sweet Dreams deck here, because around moon influences, I'm always dreaming like crazy, so dreams felt so perfect for me to share. So, there we go. Didn't even have to ask, it brought it to us. Destiny. My dreams show me that I am the co-creator of my life and destiny. Beautiful card there. And that just reiterates so much. My dreams, whether it's your dreams while you're sleeping or your dreams for your life, they show you that you are a co-creator of your life and destiny. And I kind of mentioned about life being a improv play, we have our destiny that's laid out before us. And I might have mentioned that in the second reading instead of this one, but because destiny, there's this book in process I came across. It's called Destiny Cards. And what's wonderful is it gives like this whole breakout of from 0 to 100 for each of your ages. There's all these influences that happen depending on when you were born. And what I loved about it is, sometimes life can feel like we're in a runaway train that's going to wreck into something or derail at some point. But when you see this and you witness it and then you track it and you see that these themes do come up, I still get to choose what it all means to me, and I get to make choices of that experience that's happening. Improv is about, here's a theme, here's a person, a situation, and a situation. Now go, and they get to act out what they're going to do with that information. And that's the same thing with life. This destiny is, you have a destiny to go through and experience all these things, but what you decide and what you choose to go through and what it means about you, it's totally up to you. When we're in our mind, though, and we're told, this is how it's supposed to end up and this is what it means, then we experience that. But what's great is that we can transform that and change that into something completely different. We have the power to choose what anything means about us in that moment. It's a wonderful, wonderful message here. Well, hopefully this brought a little bit of unconditional love and joy and peace into your moments. And if it did and it resonated with you, if you would like, you can give me a little like down below. That does help out my channel and helps it appear in other people's suggested videos. And if you want to share this with someone that you feel can benefit from it, then there's a share option as well. And if you want to be notified of when my next reading or my next videos come out, just click the subscribe button and click the little alarm bell, and you'll get notified of that when that happens. And I do usually put out about 1 or 2 different videos a week, depending on what's going on. So I definitely would appreciate that. Well, I do wish you all the best and all the love that you can handle. And I wish you all the best. I love you. You take care.